Are you a parent who wants to give your child a financial head start? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to Beyond Piggy Banks. I'm George, and in each episode we explore simple, practical ways to shape your child's financial future. And the best part, you don't need a financial degree, and you don't need a lot of money to begin. The earlier you act, the bigger their advantage becomes. Let's build their future. Before we dive into the numbers and strategies, in these episodes I want to explain why I'm sitting here in front of this microphone. In the trailer, I talk about changing the starting line for our children. We all want the same thing, to give them more security, more freedom, and fewer financial headaches than we had. We want them to reach adulthood with doors wide open. But the path to get there is often confusing, feared, and for most paved with well-intentioned but bad advice. Most of us were raised to believe that saving was the ultimate virtue, taught to get a safe place for our money. But over time, I've realized that what's often marketed as the safest path is actually the one that causes our child's future to lose the most value. Well, let me tell you a story that actually illustrates what I'm trying to tell you. Over a coffee one afternoon, a friend of mine who had recently become a father decided to share his latest achievements concerning his son. You could see it in his eyes. He was beaming with pride. Well, like all of us when we first become parents. He was sharing videos, pictures, and all the stories about his newborn. Then, like it was a secret, he just whispered, "George, I have done it. I went to the bank and set up an account for my son. They offer me one with zero fees, zero commissions. They even gave me one of those piggy banks, super cool for the nursery. I'll start to pay something into it every single month, and by the time he's all grown up, he will have a chunk of money to begin his life with. Great." So, as you can imagine, he was feeling a huge sense of relief, thinking that he had officially kicked off his son's financial journey. Box checked, financial start taken care of. But as we sat there, I had to be the one to tell him the hard truth. That free account was actually costing his son a fortune. His heart was definitely in the right place, but his money was sitting in a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Being my friend, I could not let that slide. So I explained it to him in the simplest way I know, with an example. You see, at the time we were both drinking coffee, so I said to him, "Today, this espresso cost us €1 each. And you remember last year it was a bit cheaper, right? Well, you also know that next year it's going to be a bit more expensive, right? So, let's imagine that next year the price goes up by just 5 cents. So, for sure, next year we'll be sitting here complaining that the price of coffee just keeps going up. Well, my friend, that's inflation." Let me just pause the story for a second. We will address inflation in a later episode. But for now, back to the story. And I continued. Let's look at that safe bank account. And let's assume that the bank was super generous and gave you 1% interest. Well, and I'm being very generous, since in some countries it's actually closer to zero. But never mind, let's go. Let's call it a generous 1%. So, by the end of next year, you will have €1 and 1 cent. Now, you are 4 cents short to buy the same espresso, right? So, in fact, you didn't make money. You lost purchasing power. Now, imagine that reality multiplied by 20 years. Yes, it's painful. Your child isn't inheriting a fortune. They are inheriting stale money that cannot buy half of what it could today. My friend realized right then that safe didn't mean growth. He realized that to give his son a real head start, he didn't need a piggy bank. He needed a growth engine. This is a reality that happens to the vast majority of parents. Some of them earlier in the game, others, unfortunately, too late to fix. And this is the reason I started this podcast. I see and keep seeing dedicated parents thinking correctly with a very noble and important objective. But they are being led down a path that won't get them to where they could be. I want to help you move from being a saver to being an architect. Basically, a saver puts money away and hopes for the best. An architect designs a structure that can withstand the future. It's a one-time setup. And I want to speak directly to every parent listening out there. This blueprint is for you, regardless of your child's age. The math says the best time to start was day zero. But reality is that today is infinitely better than never. Whether you are preparing for the birth of your child, cradling a newborn, or watching your teenager head off to high school, the principles of growth do not change. If you have 10 years left, 5, or even just 2, starting now is the best gift you can give them. It's not about when you should have started. It's about how you start today. Most parents I talk to feel like they are already behind. They think they need to find the perfect stock or time the market perfectly to give their child a chance. But the blueprint I'm talking about isn't built on luck. It's built on consistency. But think of it like this. If you want a garden, you don't pray for a miracle. You plant the seeds, you set up an irrigation system, and you keep the soil healthy. My goal isn't to turn you into a day trader. It's to help you become a passive wealth builder who automates the process. As parents, we are already exhausted. We are making thousands of decisions a day. The last thing we need is another complex task on our to-do list. That's why the strategy I'm going to show you is simple and universal. Math doesn't have borders. Whether your income comes in dollars, pounds, or euros, the engine works the same way. We are not here to focus on beating the system. We are here to focus on owning it. I'm going to show you how to set up a foundation that's so boring and so consistent that you'll forget it's even there, while it works 24 hours a day for your child's future. So quickly coming back to the story and good news, my friend actually didn't stay with that bank account. He changed his direction. And today, the results are visible. He's not stressed about the future anymore because the engine is running. This podcast is for the parents who want to hold the pen and write a different story. Now that you understand the why, we need to identify the forces at play on the road ahead. I'm George, and I'm here because your child deserves the advantage we never had. We're moving beyond hoping for the best and start to build it. You are the architect of their future, and your first blueprint is waiting. Subscribe to Beyond Piggy Banks on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. In the next episode, we'll meet 2 of our 4 critical allies: time and diversification, the forces that will do the heavy lifting for you. Clock is ticking, let's get to work.